Yeah, what's up with it? Do it cause I love it and I stuck with it. We ain't with the subbing in the cut with it. Please none of the talks, I heard enough of it. Like, what you gonna do? Where you at? Who you with? You ain't really about this, don't talk about it. Really on the move, on the map, never slip. Keep your hands to your lips, don't talk about it. Real eyes, real lies all the time. Stand on it, if we said it, we don't walk around it. Loose lips, ain't ships, red cup, blue strips, new phone, who this? No, we don't allow it. Really on go, I don't know what's an off day. Now we on road, came from smoking in the hallway. Now we got shows, boys feeling like Broadway. Always look both ways, even on a crossway. Driving down Cross Bay, out town Barclays. Really on big things, came up a small way. Championship rings, baby, that's a ball game. Oh, she want a little bag, baby, that's...
Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Epic Podcast. I am joined today by my man, John Fitz. What's good?
What up? What up?
Nothing much, man. How was your sports weekend?
It's a good weekend, man. It's a good weekend. I'm sad football's over, but it was a good weekend.
Okay. And what made this weekend so good for you?
I mean, nothing spectacular. I mean, it was just. I like, it was a good sports weekend. My Warriors, looking good. You know what I'm saying after the trade, which I was worried about, by the way. But maybe we'll get into that at another time. But yeah, good weekend.
Okay. Well, mine wasn't good because my homeboys didn't win.
Yeah.
I kind of just wanted him to do something to kind of separate itself from, just from other quarterbacks. Like the first three-peat, I mean, we can be honest. Like to catch Brady is going to be a tough task. It just is.
He's chasing the ghost. He's going to be chasing the ghost for a while.
Yeah. You can't go 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 and beat out Joe Montana at this point. Like that is what it is. So I mean, the three-peat was probably like one of the few things he could do to separate himself from like Tom Brady and Joe Montana. But now with this loss, it kind of just those three would be compared. I mean,
he takes a step back in my book, but
okay.
he's just throwing it out there.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll get into that. You can elaborate on this step back.
I'm just saying.
And by the way, we should have Jared and Justin joining us at some point. They had other obligations, so they was kind of busy.
Yeah.
But they may jump in throughout the show. So, but we're gonna start with a little NBA news, man.
All right.
A few things in the NBA. So right now you got the Raptors giving Ingram a 3-year extension, $120 million, man. Ingram was kind of quiet in New Orleans, playing well. He always played well, but I think maybe this extension could be the reason why they traded him. Maybe you think the Pelicans going into a reset?
Which would be crazy if they are. Them having Zion and things of that nature. But I get it because Zion hasn't performed. He stays hurt, I feel like, all the time. He's never shaped up to do what he needs to do. So maybe they are kind of going in that mode of where they're looking to, reset the board or whatever that may be. It just sucks for them because, I mean, they've already had a reset. This was supposed to be their ongoing, good stuff. But
yeah, they're supposed to be competing right now. Like,
exactly.
And to get rid of probably when Zion is healthy and, locked in, your second best player in Ingram. I don't know what that says, especially for, like you said, a Zion who's always hurt, like Pelicans. Like, what are we doing? Are we away? Are we just trying to build, gain a bunch of young talent and draft picks?
Yep.
I don't know what's going on there, so it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future. We got Justin with us, man. We were just talking about Ingram getting a 3-year extension with the Raptors for $120 million. A, do you think he's worth it? And B, what do you think the Pelicans is doing by moving him?
Before he gets started, I just wanted that my boy came in like he a Sith Lord. Black hoodie, black down. Okay, all right.
Well, most of the time he sits so far back on his camera, we don't even get to see him. His face jump in and out of the screen. So
he likes to stay. He likes to say, stay, mysterious and all that good stuff. You gotta watch him. You gotta watch him.
I do what I can.
So what do you think about Ingram, man? Was it a good thing for the Raptors to extend him? Good
Oh
person to
yeah,
build around?
yeah. Ingram's good. I mean, I always say bad organizations are always remain bad. So I mean, I think 3 years, 120. Is that a lot of money? Yeah, but is it a lot for what he can do? No, that's probably
Mhm.
a good contract. I mean, he's still young. At the end of the day, and I mean, I think he's gonna make them better. When it's all said and done, which is huge. So, because the Raptors are really still trying to find their identity. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So it's like I think they're
Yeah,
just trying to
they
figure
kind
it
of
out.
clean house. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So all right, you got R.J. Barrett, now you got Ingram, you got Scotty Barnes. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to figure out what kind of team they're trying to build. I don't mind the extension. I actually think it was a pretty good deal, probably on both sides in terms of that. So yeah, I like it. I like it. I think it was ignorant on the Pelican side
Yeah.
to
Yep.
trade him.
Yep.
I've been saying probably for the last 2 years, the first player that would have been off my roster if I'm the Pelicans would have been Zion Williams.
100%.
I don't understand why you continue to hold on. Like bad organizations do it though. Like they hold on to these guys because of name or whatever it is, when and then they hold on them too long, and then there is no value to get back. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Zion. How many or how long? And this is, I guess, maybe a question for you guys. How long do people? Because I've actually been saying this since he was at Duke. But how long do people continue to give him a pass? Continue to say, he's this, he's that. Like,
I'm glad you said people. I ain't gonna say I gave up on him at Duke, but I did give up on him. After the first, initial years in the NBA when he was doing the things he was doing, not keeping his body together, getting hurt, just not doing the things that a so-called next talent generational superstar coming into the league should do. He just wasn't doing those things. So I mean, I've been off of him for a while, but
yeah, I didn't give up on him at Duke. I just had concerns when he was coming out of Duke. Because one of the
yeah,
things I've said, even since he was in high school, was I said, you're not meant, the human body is not meant to be 300 pounds and be that explosive.
100%.
So there's going to come a time when all that jumping, that
you
explosiveness,
got to
if
make
he
a
doesn't
decision.
lose the weight, yeah, if he doesn't lose the weight, it's going to come back to get him. And that's what's been happening throughout his career. I mean, really, I've been saying I think his playing weight should be 250. Just being real, and that still puts him as one of the heaviest people in the NBA.
I'm
That's
about
the
to say,
crazy thing.
I feel like it should be. I feel like it should be less as high as he be jumping. He probably
Yeah.
needs a little bit less off.
I
Yeah,
don't know that he could get below that, you know what I'm saying? But I think 250 would be a solid weight. Vern, do you know what is he? Is he still like 280, 275, 280, something like that?
I'm actually looking right now. He is height weight. They got him at 284 right now.
Yeah. So
Shit,
6'6", 284. Like
yeah,
he's probably the
that's too
second
heavy.
heaviest player in the league behind Bojan.
That's
And
way too.
Bojan's 7'10". You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Nah, man, I agree too. Especially like just looking back, like you look at he came into the league in 2019. He played 24 games that year, then played 61 the year after that. Then he played 29, then played 70.
mm.
And this year so far, he's only played 17. But the crazy part is like he's super productive. So it's kind of like all you got to do is do what you got to do to stay on the court.
Mhm.
Because in all those years, he's averaging the least amount he's ever averaged is 22.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, shooting north of 30% from the three. Um, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, give or take, couple steals. Like he does everything when he's there. Like when he's on the court and available. But it's like
He ain't never there.
he ain't never there. It's just the best. Like we always say, even when it comes to football and things, it's like your best ability is availability, regardless of how talented you are, how good
Yeah.
you are, whatever you can do. If you're not on the court to do it, then or on the field or wherever your possession is, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Zion is just falling into that situation where it's like, man, he's just immensely talented, can do everything, bring the ball up, you know what I mean, initiate the offense, shoot, jump, dunk, defense, like, and then it's just like you can't keep him on the court because he's not disciplined enough.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep. Off
You,
court distractions.
yep, and it's just those young dudes like
that
when
too.
when they're that young and they're just that they've always just been just more athletic and more talented than everybody. You just think that that's just gonna carry you, for a long time, and it's just you get to the pros and it just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Night in and night out. 82 games is brutal. You know what I mean? With travel and just everything that goes along with being a professional athlete, it's brutal. And everybody's been telling him, like everybody who's had this issue, Charles Barkley, the Shaqs, like all these guys are been saying it. Like you got to get that weight off of you,
Hmm.
in order to have sustained success in the NBA. So every other year. So this year we're probably gonna get about 20 games. He averaged on a down year. He averages about 25 games. So we're probably gonna get another
That's
eight
tough.
to nine games out of Zion for the
That's
rest of the year.
crazy.
That's
That's
tough.
crazy.
If
That's tough.
history
Yeah,
That's
that's
tough.
tells
crazy
us
though.
anything, because it's
That's
literally
tough.
24, 61, 29, 70, and now 17. So
All that talent just going down the drain. Just
down
crazy.
the drain.
Crazy.
So yeah, man. So yeah. Next thing, Luka Williams in LA debut, man. How do y'all think they look, man? Did anyone y'all watch the game?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it last night. I didn't watch the whole thing. It was late, so.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to, man. I gotta be at CDL school at
Hmm.
7 in the morning. I gotta get up
I,
at 5. I
I
couldn't say.
watched. I watched maybe the first, maybe 6, 7 minutes of the first quarter, and after that, I said, "Yes, time to go to bed."
And then another thing is that they were playing the Jazz, so
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
doesn't like
that
draw your
doesn't. Nah,
attention to the
not at
to the
all.
game, because it's like it ain't like they was competing against one of the top teams in the West. So
And
maybe
it's
if they're playing like the Nuggets or somebody, you'd have been like, all right, cool. Like I want to see how they.
it is hard to really judge how they're going to mesh. It's just one game. Like that's another thing that I kind of am annoyed about with the media. Like it's so much hype, and I'm like, I get it. It's two major superstars on the same team, but let's give them at least 10 games to see kind of what it's going to look like or how it's going to be or whatever it's going to be.
Hmm.
I mean, you can't really make a judgment off of one game, honestly. I mean, you just can't.
Let's see how long Lucas stays healthy. How
That
about that?
too. That too. That too.
I
That.
mean, what he had? He had 14, 5, and 4. I'm looking at. I mean,
Yeah, he didn't shoot great. His his
nah,
No.
his, his splits were
and
not good. But I mean, at the end of the day, they
24
played the
minutes.
Jazz. There was no interest in watching the Jazz. I mean, there's nothing to write home about. At the end of the day, the expectation was Luca or no Luca, you're supposed to beat the
He's
Jazz if
supposed to
you're the
win that
Lakers.
Hmm.
game.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it, yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see. we'll, we'll see with that whole situation. Do I think that the Luca addition helps them? Sure it does, because he does give you a bona fide NBA score for real.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
Do I think they're going to struggle? Yeah, because I think he's going to get exposed again. If they make the playoffs, he's going to get exposed in the playoffs again because he can't play a lick of defense.
Can't play no
So
defense. I was just arguing with somebody about that the other day. I don't care how much he can score. He can't. He can't stand in front
Yeah.
of a cone. I'm like the brother is cannot play defense whatsoever.
yeah, I mean, if he, like I said, he can average 30, but if he's giving up 35, who really won the battle? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, right, right.
Exactly.
so we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see.
Yeah. Uh, so Hornets aim to dispute the Williams physical, man.
No need.
I,
But go ahead.
Definitely
yeah,
no.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just think it's crazy that what you call it played in a game, but then had to go back to LA.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
wild.
Dalton.
Yeah, like that
Hmm.
was crazy.
I thought they said he didn't play. He was just in the warm ups and
Nah,
they
nah.
pulled him.
Nah, he
He
played.
played. He
He
played.
actually played.
Yeah, he played.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I thought
Yeah.
that too. And then like we was another guy in class I be talking sports with. He we looked it up and it was like, nah, he got minutes. Like
Yeah, he
he
played.
legit played. So
Yeah.
yeah, but now have to go back to the team to trade you. And guess what? He didn't play in the Jazz game, and it said personal. So I'm like,
Hey, Bright, I want to be there.
right, but
Hmm.
like now, but bro, you're a rookie. Like, first off, you need to just be playing because you don't know where this journey's gonna take you.
Yeah.
So you need to
Yeah.
play
Yeah. Don't
for the
get too.
chance for the chance of playing.
Or
It's,
could say they didn't want to risk him getting injured either if this dispute goes through. But
yeah.
I don't think it's going to go through because everything that I've heard about Williams is he has a mean injury history. So they were like, their fingers were crossed that he would pass a physical. So at this stage, I thought because I mean, think about it. Did it really make sense for a team like the Hornets, as bad as they've been for the number of years, to trade a 22-year-old who's giving you 16-9 or 17-9?
Not
That
at
doesn't
all.
make any sense.
You
Not
know
at all.
something's
So
going on.
you know something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it's there's something wrong there. I'm sorry.
I
So
mean, and even though you were getting back a pretty decent package, like it wasn't like you were
it's
trading for a
not
bag
the
of
same.
bones. But I
Yeah.
mean, Connect's a hooper too. He been, when he's got his
There's
opportunities, he's
fam,
been balling.
fam, they don't need another like when Brandon Miller's healthy, you got Bridges, you got Lamel. They don't have a big fam. You don't trade a big if you have a big.
That's true too. That's true too.
So
But the
yeah,
Lakers just signed Alex Lynn too, so that may be the signal that like, look, dude, we cool.
yeah,
We ain't even
yeah.
gonna, we don't want to pursue that anymore. Regardless, like y'all can dispute it all y'all want. Either you can get on the court or you cannot get on the court. We can see you guys.
I just find it hilarious how they just try to sweep that under the rug. Like I'm like, that's wild. It's
Yeah.
like he wasn't gonna do a physical. Like
Yeah, that part.
like,
That
Yeah,
part
like,
right there.
yeah. And then, or you just hoping that they just don't find it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Whatever's
yeah,
going
that's
on.
true. That's true. Yep.
Because some teams don't do their due diligence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
no,
So,
the Lakers are. I mean, that's never mind.
hey,
That's a risky
Lakers.
trade.
I'm
So
about to say the Lakers. The
Of
Lakers front
all
office
teams,
have been pretty
uh,
shaky. So they ain't make the best decisions. So I
yeah,
mean, I guess you could kind of sit back and try to say, "Oh, let's just see if they'll take him." You know what I mean? Maybe he can squeak through, like I said. But yeah, nah, I think the Lakers, like I said, once I seen they sign Alex Lynn, I'm like, all right, they cool. They ain't,
mm-hmm.
somebody who could defend, catch lobs. He's a huge 7-footer. Like he's been around for a while, so it ain't, he knows how to play. And you don't need much from him.
yeah,
Last but not least, in NBA, Kyrie to replace AD in the All Star game. I haven't watched a lot of Kyrie this year. Just because the school is kicking my butt, I ain't been able to watch a lot of basketball at all. But um, I mean, it's like he having a decent season right now. 40% from the three, averaging 24. It look like a normal Kyrie year. Uh, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, couple steals. Like, I also heard John, you was telling me that they got
Yeah. Trey Young replaced Giannis because Giannis is not playing in the All Star this year. So with his injury, they immediately put him on the sideline when he got injured. So
mm,
hmm
so so question. What? Oh, and I feel like we talk about this every year around this time. Like, what do we do about the All Star game? Do we go back to how it was? Like, how do we incentivize these players to, I guess, play hard and
in
make,
order for it
make
to
a
go
game?
back, in order for it to go back to what it was, you got to get the players to buy in that this is a game. Like it's not like you know
Make it mean something.
it's like with football. You're getting you've done well, you do whatever. And obviously, I know you got the Pro Bowl and all that good stuff. That's another conversation for another day too. But the All Star game back in the day, from when I was growing up, that was like the all like be all of games. Like we
Right.
going to compete for real. Like it's the best players in the NBA playing against each other on one night. Like there was a different type of mentality in those olden days, and now it's just different. And everybody's buddy. They just want to be seen, and all this other stuff. It's just not. It's just in order to go back to that, the players, you got to find a way to get the players to buy into like this is still a serious game. You need to play like you get paid to play. This is what you're supposed to do. So
Hey, maybe that's the key. Maybe again, put some money on the line or make it something playoff bound. You know what I mean? Kind of like how baseball do. You know what I mean? Whatever conference wins the
yeah,
All Star game, that's who gets home field advantage in a World Series. Maybe you got to make it worth something in order for to make them play and or put some money on the line. Like, hey, $1 million. I don't know because these guys are all making
so much
anywhere from
money.
40 to 50, 60
So much
million. So it's
yeah.
hard to just put $1 million out there and be like, all right, go for it. I don't think that would do it as much, but even if it's the combination of both, but you again, I like you said, I think back in the day they just had more pride of going against the best and wanted to show out. That now it's just like you said, everybody trying to save themselves. Don't nobody want to risk an injury or anything crazy. Which I don't. I've never seen an injury in an All Star game.
Me either. I was gonna ask you. I don't think I've ever
I've
saw one.
never seen an injury in an All
Me
Star game.
neither. Me neither.
So I don't think nobody's out there fouling super hard or whatever, even in the closing minutes of the game. But I think if nothing else, like I said, make playoff implications. Like you said, home court advantage, or like I said, home court advantage, and last but like put some money out there. Same thing for like 3-point shootout and stuff. You want people getting dunking contests, especially these young guys. Put a half a meal up. Winner gets a half a meal. That's going to inspire creativity. And these young guys who can do all the jumping and dunking and stuff, it's going to inspire them to want to go in there and try to win. Because hey, look, at least I get extra 2 paychecks out of it or something. 3-point contest, same thing. Put a quarter of a meal up and make the remain whoever. Hey, the champion, you win. You got to run it back.
Three-point contest though, I feel like it's probably the most competitive out of the whole weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the rest of them is all trash. I mean, literally 3-point contest. I literally believe that's probably the. I think they don't have to do anything with that. I think the people who show up for that, they do what they're supposed to do. Like I don't think there's any. I don't have, at least me personally. I don't have any gripes with the 3-point contest, but everything else in that whole weekend, yeah, like
Okay.
something got to
So,
change.
all right. This year you have Jalen Brunson, uh, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Cameron Johnson, Damian Lillard, and Norman Powell. That's not a bad lineup.
Yes, it is.
But
You have two
I'm
guys in
thinking
there who could shoot.
that's what I'm saying. I'm just thinking about okay. I know. I mean, Tyler Hero's
He
a
can't.
decent
He's not.
shooter.
He's not. But he's not that kind of a shooter. There's
Buddy
levels to
Hield,
3-point.
yeah,
Buddy, yes. Buddy's a shoot. Now, Buddy's a shooter. Shooter.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. And I mean, and Damian just that's all he do.
Dame is, but Dame's not even really a three. He's learned to do the 3-point contest,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but it took him several
Mm-hmm.
3-point
Because
contests
he
to
won.
finally
He's won two of them, man. He's won back to back.
think so. Now,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
won back to back.
But I mean, no offense, but Norman Powell,
But again, that's what I'm saying. Like people aren't the
Jalen
real the
Brunson.
real shooters aren't coming out to shoot. You know what I mean? Like,
But it's I don't think they're inviting the real shooters because the real shooters ain't necessarily the superstars in the league either.
Mm-hmm.
but if you, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I
But
think
I'm with you. You have to incentivize these guys. I agree with what you were saying. Like you have to figure out
put
what
some
that
money out
incentive
there.
is because we did already talk about. Like I think when we talked about the baseball thing, like I think that's a piece of it. Go back to East and West. All this other nonsense in that home. Go East West. Some kind of playoff incentive for whatever conference wins it. Um, throw some money on the line, and then kind of go from there. And to your point, I think you can get some of the better talent in the like the 3-point contest and stuff, but who? See, because to me, it's not even necessarily about how many made, but like, for example, um, you start looking at some of these guys. I'm like, man, there's not a whole lot of guys that you would want to see. But I'll say this: would people want to see Luka in the 3-point contest? For
Yeah,
sure. He's a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he can shoot the ball. Now, is he? He may not be.
I mean the
Whatever.
motion
But
of shooting, but like,
yeah,
yeah, I get you. I get you.
but like, yeah, those are the guys you want to see. I mean, you want to see those guys at the 3-point con. You just, I don't know that you're going to get them in there because, to your point, I don't think it's incentivized enough for these guys to want to do it.
Yeah,
I think for me it. I mean, obviously, I don't want just like the bench or the warm up squad shooting at the 3-point line, but I guess it doesn't. I guess for me it doesn't matter as much as far as with like the up and coming like youth that's shooting or whatever that may be, because at the end of the day it's going to be competitive. They're going to go out and they're going to go out and try to win the 3-point contest. Like it's not going to be any show or them playing off of defense or moving out the way so somebody can dunk
Hmm.
or
Yep.
it's going to be
Yep.
competitive. You know what I mean? So I guess it doesn't matter to me per se. I get what you're saying, and I definitely agree. I think there should be some sort of incentive to maybe get some of the other superstars out, but I guess it's not a. I see it as a way for the up and coming stars, the Brunsons and all that stuff to kind of be on the limelight and things like
But he's
that. So,
not a shooter. That's my thing. Like you're putting guys who ain't really Like when I look at Brunson's not a 3-point shooter. Like those guys aren't a lot of those guys aren't real 3-point shooters in my opinion. But I'll say this: I would have loved to see Kevin Durant in it. I
Yeah,
would have loved to see Luka in it. I would have loved to see, and again, it doesn't have to be superstars, but I'm just naming some guys that
The guys that
even
that has notable
yeah,
names that can
I
yeah,
get
got
like
you.
yeah,
that's
I
known
mean
for their shot.
that's
Yeah.
known for like guys we know who can get it. Like, and don't get me wrong, they're in-game shooters, and then guys who could do the 3-point contest. But yeah, like I mean, why not? Like I
Yeah.
would still like to see Steph do it one more time before he retires. You know what I'm saying? Like I like give me matter of fact, give me one like a star-studded one, or switch it up and do like a vets versus
Yeah,
new
that would be
school.
cool.
So
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
who've
yeah.
been in the
That
league
would be cool
for
too.
less than 5 years versus some guys who've been in the league more than 5 years. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And like make kind of compete it like that. 3-point contest is the most competitive thing that's on All Star, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I still think they can even make that a little bit more entertaining in terms of intriguing to watch as well. I mean, like I said, who wouldn't want to watch KD? Lukas and those guys, try to get it in, but then mix in your Duncan Robinsons and guys that are known to shoot the three too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
there's ways to get it done. They just got to be creative about doing it.
yeah.
And then, I mean, to to double down on that, the dunk contest. I don't even know how to say his name from the Chicago Bulls.
That's probably
Bazi-
the
Mattis
least, in my
Bazias,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then Stephon Castle from San Antonio,
Not
trash,
a not a
um,
trash.
dunk contest.
Andre Jackson Jr. from Milwaukee,
Not a dunk contest.
and
Duncan
Mac McCullen from the G League, from
McClung.
Orlando Magic. Yeah,
Yeah,
from the
Mac
G League.
McClung. Yeah,
So like, you telling
Trash.
me if you put
Trash.
a half a mil on there, like other guys, like come on, like
put a meal. It got to be make it a
I
little
mean,
bit
I
more.
mean, I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like,
we
yeah.
talking about $1 billion business and more than $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar business. They can afford to put a meal up.
But I kind of look at like the NBA Cup and how they only put half a mil up.
Which they need to increase that.
Like I
Bet
was saying,
the top.
like so
Mhm.
I'm just thinking if they gonna cheap that out, then. But
Now
no, I
is
agree.
the half of but the half a meal is per person though, right?
It is per person.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's why I
Yeah.
say a meal would I mean, you talking about half a meal per person, that's different. You know what I'm saying? That's different. It's like you play for that for the guys that are, number 10 through 15 on that roster to get that. You know what I'm saying? So that's motivation to help other guys get it. But yeah, like you put a meal up. I mean that's the most money Mac McClung would get. You know what I'm saying?
True
I hate
statement.
to say this, but the reality is he's become, in my opinion, that Dwight Howard, that Nate Robinson, where he's won it like last year on name. Like it's not about the dunks anymore. It's now more about your name and how
Notoriety.
cool people, yeah, like think you are. Like I don't watch any of this stuff anymore. I think like last year, I always watch the 3-point contest. Let me take that back. But the dunk contest, I think the last one I've actually enjoyed was the Aaron Gordon Zach Levine one.
Yep.
And then I stopped after that because they robbed Aaron Gordon.
Sure did.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like the game hasn't. Now I'll be honest, I haven't watched an actual All Star game in, I mean, so long. I couldn't even tell you. I usually forget it's even on until somebody says something. Like I couldn't even tell you the last time I watched the All Star game itself.
Yeah,
So
Did I watch
it's
last year?
been a
I'm
minute
trying
for
to
me.
think. Did I actually watch last year's? I can't even remember if I did or didn't. I can't remember.
no,
I will say I'm looking at the skills challenge setup. That's kind of decent. You
It's gonna,
got
it's gonna be
team
trash.
pass. I
It's gonna
know
be trash.
Donovan Mitchell and Mobley. You got team Spurs with Chris Paul and Victor, which both of them are, you know what I mean, like very good passes and stuff like that. And then you got the Warrior, well, Draymond and Moody.
Trash.
And then you
Yeah,
got
Draymond and Moody.
that's what I
yeah,
said.
I'm
Trash.
like,
Trash.
But and team Rooks, I can barely read their names. Alex Sarr and
Hmm.
I can't see it. The picture's too small on here. But so I mean that may be something. But yeah, I agree, man. Like it just the incentives is just not there, man. And they just
Nah,
need to quit being cheap and put the money out there. I think the same thing even with I mean, I don't want to talk about the Pro Bowl, but I mean that's another thing
please
where
don't. Boy, don't nobody
you
watch
That's
gotta
that.
do
that
something.
has really went down.
You gotta go back old school. Like these people, these players in the league, always talking about how fast they are, who the fastest 4x1 team is.
Let's
Man,
see it. Let's see it.
make them line up.
Yeah, put
I
some
remember
red.
when Rod Woodson and them used to race.
Yep.
Gerald Green and them used to
Yep.
race. All that used to have who could throw the farthest.
Yep.
Used to have accuracy challenges. Uh, all that stuff.
They
And
do a little passing thing now, I saw,
bro, it
but it's
ain't
not the
like
same. Like you
nah.
said, they used to see who could throw the farthest. Like all these guys, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, all these guys talking about they got a gun.
With these big
Let's
arms,
see it. Let's see this big arm. Let's see who really can throw this thing. Like
man.
let's
So like,
let's let's do it.
and I just think they just so afraid of going back that they're going to lose. Like, I don't know, maybe the young crowd, but it's like if you like football, you like football, and you do want to see your favorite players compete against it. You want to see who could throw the farthest. That's
Yeah.
something we do in the backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
all that
You want
stuff.
to see who's the fastest. We all
Yeah,
done went outside and raced. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like that's
Especially the
stuff you can
Tyreek.
do.
Imagine the Tyreek Hills and Worthies, and you know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean. Like
Oh yeah.
man, every that people will. You could put that on pay per view.
Yep.
We would pay to watch it. So I just think they kind of gotta take a step back and quit trying to innovate so much and kind of go back to the roots and see what used to work and sprinkle a little of that in and get some feedback.
I
So, and I think the same thing in the NBA, man. Like you said, you got to put more incentives in there, make these dudes go hard. Y'all already low manage too much
agree.
throughout the season. Give us one game again. You telling me you don't want to go hard against these guys that they challenge you year in and year out? Talking about the
Mm-hmm.
best. What are we here for? Forfeit your all star and forfeit your spot and let somebody else get in there who wants to play. If you don't,
You know, I
so
actually said I brought it up to you guys a while back, and I still believe that it's a way to get them to play a little bit harder. I think you can name your top, 5 whatever all-stars, however number that may be, and they
mhm.
don't have to play, right? So your vets, they don't have to play. It could be optional, but with the understanding of if you play, you're going to play. This is a game. Have them play against the best players in the G League.
That
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That too.
Because
And then
the G League has
especially
got
if
stuff
you
to
put that money
prove.
up,
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
G League
That
gonna
G
go
League gonna
hard.
go hard, yeah. So you're not gonna be able to take it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
I think that what you do is you incentivize them in multiple ways, and they're not gonna want to get out there and get embarrassed.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think you
And it's
do.
gonna shine the talent on the G League to where now who may get called up for a two-way
Yep,
contract or now
yep,
somebody you might not know. Oh man, I didn't. Hey, who's that guy? You know what I mean?
yep,
It's gonna open opportunities too.
yep. And I said this: why not make All Star Weekend like like if you're not gonna do, like you could do the game like that, but I would still love to see all these guys talk about this, that, and the third. Have have a 1v1 tournament. Put that
I
Yep.
pride to the
seen,
side.
Yep.
Put that
yeah,
Yep.
pride to the side.
Yep.
And to me, you do 1v1 and you do it to me two different ways. You or two or three different ways. You have a bigs 1v1, and then you have maybe guards and
forwards,
wings.
yeah,
Yeah,
forwards and
guards and
wings. Yep.
wings. And
Hmm.
you do 1v1 tournaments in all three areas. However they want to, and they can pick whatever one they want to play in. But do
Yeah,
1v1 tournament, and that can start Friday and the championship be Sunday. So you ain't even got to play
Mm-hmm.
like that. You know what I mean? You can spread it out.
and
Um,
have height restrictions maybe
yep,
from
yep.
6 foot to 6'4", and then you know what I mean. Wings got to be 6'5" to 6'8". You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah,
Or to me, I think it goes by shoot. What do they list you at?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
What do they list you at? If they
yeah. That's
list you
true
as a
too.
as a power forward or a small forward, you're forward.
Yep.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I
Like,
agree. No,
yeah,
that would be dope.
yeah.
That would be good.
So that's something that would get me watching again. But again, they're not. Man, these guys they don't want to
Too
get out
much
there and get
politics.
embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? Too much
Yeah,
politics. Yeah. So I don't. Again, I won't. I'm pretty sure I won't watch a lick of the All Star outside of maybe the 3-point contest again this year until something changes. So. Mm-mm.
yeah. It's tough. All right, man. Enough basketball. Let's talk some football. course, we just had the Super Bowl this past weekend. Eagles beat the Chiefs 40-22.
Let's not downplay it.
It
They
was
did.
worse than that.
The Eagles.
That was
The
worse.
Eagles.
It was
The
worse than
Eagles
that.
didn't beat the Chiefs. The Eagles destroyed the Chiefs.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not. No arguments there.
That 22 is
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
most of that happened in the fourth quarter.
that's just to look nice, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's really worse than that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I really want to say what's next for the Chiefs. I guess now. I mean, I guess me and Fitz was kind of talking about it. Like now that Patrick Mahomes is out of any type of exclusive club. I mean, it's gonna be a while before he even catch Brady if he does. He can't go undefeated, So Montana is in the conversation. I don't think it's a way he really separates himself. I mean, winning five would probably be the only way he really separates himself. Because Montana has four, so that kind of puts him above him, but still below Brady, and kind of put him in the area by himself. Because I don't know too many quarterbacks that have four or five. So, but I think not getting that three-peat is kind of
It hurt.
yeah, yeah, it got
All
to.
it is. It hurt.
Yeah. What you think, Justin?
Um, I mean, I think that helped. That would have helped him in terms of just being able to, like you said, differentiate itself. But I don't think it. I don't think it makes or breaks his legacy. I
Okay.
mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you got a full career to go through. I actually said, regardless of even if they had won this and he three-peated, right?
Mhm.
How would people view him if he never went back to another Super Bowl for the rest of his career?
Mm.
Like people keep forgetting, like it's not like he gonna retire. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes probably be around for another 10 years.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So like let's pump the brakes and realize like he's talented. He's had a good run, but there's a good chance, given all the talent in the AFC, he might not. He might not get back. And I'm oh, that's crazy. No, it's not. Guess what? Andy Reid's older. Andy Reid may not be there Patrick's entire career.
Yep.
That's a reality. He's about to lose Kelsey at some point here. That's gonna change some things for him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Chris Jones is getting older. Like the Chiefs ain't gonna necessarily be the Chiefs. And if we're all honest, I don't think we're surprised by what happened. I think
No,
we all knew the Chiefs were flawed. They kind of just been scaving through all season. And I think we
they
all could
just
have
didn't
agreed.
make mistakes
Yeah,
at crucial times throughout the season, and that kind of like, yeah. No, I
Or
agree.
or or no, go ahead and say it too. Or they've gotten very favorable calls at favorable times throughout the season. Because in the reality, they probably should have had 3 or 4 losses in the regular season.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at this different anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I can admit I've said this, and I'm sure you probably would have agreed with this if we didn't talk about it last time. Was as long as Philadelphia's defensive line played up to where we knew they could, we already knew it was going to be a problem because Kansas City's O line has been struggling all year. So I'm not surprised by the outcome. What's next for the Chiefs? I think what's next is something that can't be done. Me and Ike talked about this and it said they really got to start rebuilding, but that stuff doesn't happen overnight as far as because they got to get the O line right. But while you're trying to fix that, you got other things you're trying. Rashee Rice is coming up on a contract, I'm sure. How are you replacing Kelsey? I know people say, "Oh, Noah Gray and something else." Yeah, but they're not Kelsey. You know what I mean? There's a reason we didn't hear their name on Sunday. It's not Kelsey.
Okay.
What are you gonna do on defense? You got guys getting older, guys needing contracts there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they figure it out. Ultimately, I mean, regardless if Patrick won another Super Bowl or not, to me, it doesn't exclude him from being in any kind of conversation. He's had a great run, and it happens. And he just happens to be. This is a time where you got some really good quarterbacks in the AFC. The AFC got a lot of good quarterbacks, man. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Which that means that a lot of teams have an opportunity to, make some runs. Now I ain't gonna say three-peat or do what they were about to do, but they could make some runs where they can get a couple Super Bowls. When it's all said and done. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, and usually somebody, since Mahomes has been in the leagues, every other, somebody sneaks in to get one. So the Eagles has got one. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm-hmm.
who else? Somebody else won.
Oh, Rams.
Brady. Yeah, no, with the Rams and Buccaneers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep. Yep.
when they lost to the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, and then the Rams, like you said, the Rams got one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So it's like, okay, the Eagles got one, and maybe, like you said, I mean, you probably with this cash, maybe in 2 years, maybe. So you probably got a 2 year window to
I honestly
probably
think
get
they
to
window
probably try
shut.
to get back.
I know it sounds crazy. I actually think they window shut, bro. For real.
Mm, I just I think we've been seeing a steady decline in the Chiefs, and it's just like
Hmm.
somehow
Yep.
it's like they still are right there at the end, at least competing.
The
You know what I mean? So
Let me ask you this though. The only reason why I say I think their window is closed in terms of without some tweaks to really get them back up top with some O line fixes and stuff is because I think from what we saw from Denver and the Chargers alone are going to make that division tougher.
yeah,
And
no, yeah,
they both are in a position to make moves and really improve their rosters. Obviously health and all that stuff play, but like I just would be curious to see how that's gonna work. So again, not saying they can't win, but you know what I'm saying? Like their divisions should be much better moving forward. And they haven't had that in some years.
yeah, but then I also, I mean, look at because see, we've said this before too. Because a few years back, the AFC West, we were like, man, this is gonna be a tough division, and they end up falling off. But nonetheless, I also look at the other AFC divisions. You look at the East, outside of Buffalo, mm, nobody's really competing, and they all got their own issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Outside of the North, which who knows what that's going to be. The Steelers, what they going to do at quarterback? Are they going to keep both of those guys again and run it
No.
back as it was?
No.
They need weapons. You know what I mean? They got their things going on.
No, I think the
Cleveland,
North is really just right now in the North is just
North is
Baltimore
more
and Cincinnati. That's it. I
exactly.
mean,
I mean,
like you
but I
said, the other
mean,
ones got issues. Yeah.
yeah, but then I mean, Cincinnati got defensive issues, so it's like what are they going to do on that side of the ball? So you can really kind of look at it as really
That's true.
Baltimore's the only the stable team that you really
Yeah.
don't have a ton of question marks. You know what I mean? From somewhere from the front office until to on the field. So I mean, I mean AFC South,
Yeah.
you really
Tons
just
of
got the
questions.
Texans
Yeah.
again. Like that's really the only team that's really competing. So even if you do get two teams out of the West, you can still be in a position where the Chiefs can still make it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
With two teams out the West, so I don't think I don't think their fall off is further than the other teams in the other divisions that's been bad the past few years. That's what I'm saying.
I
Ultimately,
think yeah. I see what you're saying. I think you're right on that. Yeah.
because long as you got Patrick Mahomes, it's just and Andy Reid.
Yeah. Yeah. You
It's
always
like
got a chance with
you
both of
got
them.
a pretty good chance, and their big contracts are under contract. So these guys, none of these guys are getting, top tier money. The receivers are not getting top tier money.
No,
Nobody is.
no,
You know
no.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, like nobody's on defense outside of probably McDuffie is getting top
he gonna
money
get
at
good
that
money.
position.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, he
saying
gonna
at
get
that
money.
position. So linebackers, I don't see no all pro talent at linebacker that you got to pay top linebacker money. You know
Nah,
what I
Nick
mean?
Bolton is good, but you're not paying him that.
You're
Leo
not.
Chanel, you're not paying
You're
that.
not.
Yeah, like I
Those
mean, they
guys,
got like you
those
said, they
guys
got
are
some good guys,
replaceable.
but not top. Yeah, they're not
Exactly.
gonna be top of the market guys. Yeah,
If D line, I mean, you paid your D lineman. You know what I mean? So nobody else is on Chris Jones level too, where you're like, okay, we got to think about some things. So
mm-mm.
again, I think they'd probably be fine salary cap wise. Like you said, I think it's more of just the rest of the league catching up versus them
Yeah,
falling off.
I can
Like you
see that.
said, that division catching up too. They got great coaches in that division, and
Yeah, I think
um,
Harbaugh is a difference maker. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? We talked about
he
that. So,
always moved the needle.
yep, I think
Even
that's.
though I'm not a believer in
I know you don't
in
like
Herbert,
Herbert. Yeah,
but
but I do trust her. I do
I do
trust
trust
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
Yep,
Yes, yep.
yep.
So,
We got a comment too, real quick, Brian.
oh,
From
oh my
Corey.
God, Corey. He said the Texans ain't it though. They too questionable. Um, you can say that, but in the same sense, I mean, when you compare them against the rest of the teams in the AFC South, and we both Colts fans, so I understand where this is coming from. It's just one of those things that the rest of the rosters in the AFC South is not where the Texans are. The Texans is loaded with talent. They just was rigged with injuries. You got to think
Mm-hmm.
three of their top receivers was hurt.
They got destroyed.
You
They
know
got
what I mean?
destroyed.
So
Yeah.
if you get Diggs, Dales, and what you call it that like
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins,
Mhm.
Yep.
like that's them three right there is a difference maker, and whoever the Texans are playing, and of
Yep.
course they just loaded on defense. I mean, with like we said with Stroud on his contract, like it gives them so much wiggle room to keep making moves.
But that's why
Um,
they got to get it right now, in my opinion. Because
yeah,
while Stroud is on this rookie deal, they got to figure out, all right, who do we need that's going to put us over the top? They got to put some work on their offensive line. I think they got two really good edges with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson.
hmm
They still got some pieces here or there on the defense that they need to add in, and then offensively, I think they got to figure it out. I think getting a new offensive coordinator was the right move. But then they got to figure out the offensive line. And then to your point, I think they really got to see what they're going to do at receiver because Diggs and Dale, I don't even know that either. Well, Diggs ain't even under contract. And I doubt with that injury, as late as it was, um, I don't know that Dale will even be able to play next year, man, because that was a pretty
yeah,
brutal injury. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? That late in the year. So what do you do there? Because Nico can't do it by himself, you
Um,
know?
but um, but again, we always talk about, and this is something that Jared preaches a lot, is that you can find guys in the draft. I mean, far as receivers,
hmm
like
hmm
they're
Yeah.
they're all over the nation in college football. We see it week in and week out in college football. So you can find a receiver or two.
But
Um,
there's not a lot of guys, I don't think, at receiver that come out of college that are ready to put you in a position to win now. Yes, you can get them and develop them, but you don't. It's very rare you get, you know what I mean,
yeah,
a
don't
Justin
let Jared
Jefferson
hear you
guys
saying
like
this
that.
because let him tell it. There's number ones flying out of college every year.
I don't believe that. I think you do have some top tier talent that comes out, but the
Yes,
Texans or the tech teams like the Texans won't be in a position to get a lot of those guys because
right.
they usually go, a
They're
lot
gonna
higher
be
in
they're
the
gonna be
draft.
bottom 20.
Hmm.
But I think coming into that culture that they built in Houston too, it just I hate talking about them being a coach fan, but it's like that
I
culture
like
that
the
they
Miko though, boy.
that's what I'm saying, that culture that they built like
Yep.
in such little time, you know what I mean? To throw young guys in there, I think they have a system to. You see the Tank Deals, the Nico Collins, how these guys just blossomed over
Yep.
the past couple of years. They haven't been in the league long to really flourish in that system and in that culture. So they may be one of those guys that can, they may be one of those teams that you get one of those guys late in the second, third round to come in and maybe be able to produce while a Tank Dales is out. And if they
Mhm.
not, you do have something to look forward to as him coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're gonna I mean injuries, we're gonna see what the health looks like. They gotta shore up that offensive line though, because CJ got toe up last year.
Yeah, that tackles definitely need some work.
Yeah, they gotta
Interior is
figure it
okay,
out.
but those tackles, yeah.
Yeah, Larry Tunzel did not live up to the billing last year at left tackle. So
Oh, my cousin said, "This is my cousin." She said they good in college, but don't do so well in the NFL. Yeah, I mean, and it happens at every position. The receiver, you just get more chances because there's more of them. Like you can
mhm.
put 4 or 5 receivers on the
Mhm.
field at
Yeah,
once, so
yeah.
you can keep 7 receivers on the roster and develop them. You know, later on throughout their later years. So you're right. I mean, they don't all pan out, but that's one of the positions where you just have that luxury. That in DB, you
Yeah.
had the luxury where to keep 5, 6 DBs and move them around between safeties and play them at different in the slot and do different things with them to see how they're going to develop though. So,
Mhm.
uh, great questions. What's next? Of course, again, year in and year out, it just seems like the Super Bowl just keeps breaking attendance records as far as viewers and stuff.
Supposedly.
As yeah, right. As they expand around the world,
Mhm.
so 127 million viewers, average viewers. So that's people watching at the same time.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
Um, Saints hires Eagle OC Moore as new head coach. Do you think that'd be one of those coaches that can transition
No.
from OC to head coach?
No. I didn't like him as an OC.
Okay, fair enough. Um, I don't think the Eagles' offense was that good to
Not,
where
not at
you
all.
needed to snatch their OC.
Mm,
Maybe the DC, but the OC,
mm-mm.
they didn't do
Nope.
anything special. Jalen, even though he was hurt throughout the season, didn't go crazy. I mean, outside of a really good running game scheme with Saquon and they zone, how they zone block, but
Mm-hmm.
their offensive line is good too. They got one of the best. If anybody needs a promotion, it's their offensive line coach, who's been there for quite a while. I forget his name.
They've done a real good job there with that O line.
Even
A
with
really
Kelsey
good
coming out,
job.
I think they had a
Yep.
rookie at center, like
Second year guy, I think. I
second.
think it's
Okay,
second year. Yep.
yeah. So they miss a beat. So
No.
yeah, I think if anything, grab the DC and promote the offensive line coach if that's a thing.
Yeah, Fangio's had a head coaching opportunity before. I believe he was in Denver. I don't think he's another one where I think he's a better
Yes.
coordinator.
Yeah.
He's just not a great head coach. I don't see Kellen Moore translating personally. I mean, people keep forgetting he was in Dallas. He was with the Chargers. Now he's with the Eagles. So it's not like he's. I don't understand all the hula. Like the year, if I'm not mistaken, I think the year is in Dallas. Oh, Dallas is putting up X amount of points. Man, if y'all go back and watch how they were doing it, though, it's like he's not. I don't see anything special about him. I don't see him even as being like a top tier offensive coordinator personally.
Right.
But maybe he'll translate into a better head coach. But when I see him, even when you see him on the sideline, he does not strike me as a person that commands respect. That commands the attention of the other men in that locker room. I just don't see it working personally. But we'll see. Because New Orleans is in a bad spot, brother. They ain't got no
Man,
cap space. They ain't got no quarterback. Like I don't know that
nothing.
he can do. And see, that's where I say like I'll give Ben Johnson credit, even though I don't think he's going to be a good head coach either. I think, well, we'll see how he translates, but I'm not sold on him being a great head coach either. But we'll see because he has some good coordinators around him, if I remember correctly. But the
But
thing,
and I also think too, not to cut you off,
mm,
it depends on where that coordinator comes from and what culture he comes from. Like who was
mhm,
his head coach?
yep,
Who was their GM? Like
yep,
are they going to kind of a similar situation and are they building their staff the same way where they were
yeah,
successful at? But
because
go ahead.
that staff matters. And the only thing I was going to say is I think that ultimately Ben Johnson did a good job of turning down jobs and waiting for one that gave him a better opportunity to be successful. Kellen Moore, yeah, that's a job that probably needed to go somebody who's been a previous head coach or had some kind of experience in rebuilding a franchise. That's a tough thing to ask somebody who's never been in that position to do. Again, not saying he can't. We're gonna have to wait and see. But if I had to bank on it, I'll say he's a guy who won't be a head coach for very long because I don't think they're going to be very good at all. So,
And because also like the Saints front office are very stuck in their ways. They're one of them teams that
yep.
just they don't make really smart money moves.
Mm-mm.
Player wise, roster wise, like that I think if anything
Yeah,
they need
yeah,
a new
yep,
GM. They need to
yep,
re-rack that front office
yep,
and kind of start over there because I mean since Bree's been gone, like they've been paying the wrong guys,
Mm-hmm.
off field problems. Like it's been a lot going on there.
they got a
Bringing in the wrong guys, bringing in the wrong guys, and overpaying them. Um, it's crazy. So I think New Orleans, if you're gonna, at the point of bringing in a new coach, I think you probably should have started at the GM spot and kind of went that
yep.
route.
Oh yeah, now they got an old expensive roster.
Yeah,
So
exactly, because you unpaid all these old
and
guys. You
paid all these
you
guys.
you know what I mean, and then you can't do anything. Like you can't bring in any talent on offense. Like you really have to draft well, and
Yep.
this GM has not been drafting well. So I think that's going to be your biggest problem. Not only the salary cap. Y'all been in salary cap hell forever.
It seems like
Like
it, for
every
real. It
every
seems
every
like
year y'all wanted to get one of the teams that's 30, 40 mil over the cap. You know what I mean? And y'all turning everything into signing bonuses. Like yeah, yeah. I think, like I said, I think again, I would have hired a new GM and then let him go head coach search and tell him I don't want anybody new. Give me somebody with at least 3, 4 years of head coaching experience, at least two. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
somebody. You know what I
Something.
mean? Bring in
Hmm.
somebody who got some experience, because those old guys, you're gonna have to culture shock them. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
rebuild that culture and start over with some younger guys at some point. So, um, last but not least, talk about the Niners trying to do everything they can to extend Purdy without losing the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
Um, where do you put? And see, me and John, I'm gonna start with John on this. Where do you put him as a number? far as quarterbacks, just knowing what they're going for. So quarterbacks right now, you're looking between 35 and I guess now close to 55. Where do you put Purdy in that bracket as far as money?
Well, he definitely ain't getting 55. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
That's over with. But I would be happy with like
This is a great question for Ike. I wish he was here.
I would give him I would give him anywhere between 35 and 40.
Okay.
I'll give him anywhere between that, but he ain't 55, and they already have said that they're even willing to extend it past 55 to extending. And I'm like, nah, he's not worth that. I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess the the writing is on the wall with them letting Debo seek a trade. So they're I mean, we can I think it's safe to say that they're gonna pay him a nice amount. Um, but when you look, and this is
How do you save the rest of the team at that point? I mean, if
that's
you're
what I
giving
was
him if
saying.
you're giving him all that money, how are you saving the team? You're not. You're not saving the team.
And see, Justin is Justin. Again, I wish Jared was here too. They tend to hold their pockets when it comes to talking about paying people. So, what do you think, man? Where I mean, he's 40. You think he's in that range?
Well, first, not don't say paying people; it's paying quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks, my bad. Sorry,
it's
sorry.
really
I
it's
said
really
that.
the quarterbacks more than
Yeah.
anybody. But I would probably say, if I'm being real about it, it's probably going to take somewhere between 40-45 to get him.
Okay.
I think he knows he's not top tier. But I think somewhere between that 40
About 42.
45, and I will feel comfortable with it. But the design of it is going to be in a manner in which I have an out after 2 years.
Okay. So, what
So,
maybe put some voidable years on there on the
yep,
back end?
yep, yep. So
Um,
I can give him some accelerators to offset that as well. Like if you hit certain things, we win a Super Bowl, all that. Maybe that ends
maybe
up
a bigger
getting get you
signing
to
bonus because I
55.
like maybe
You
a
know,
bigger signer bonus of more money up front, make it
yep,
like front heavy, and
yep.
then like you said, put some voidable years on the back end. Like, hey, look, like you said, certain incentives if we NFC championship, we
Champions,
make it to a Super
Super Bowl,
Bowl.
yep, all that.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you if you're an All Pro, stuff like that, I can add some incentives in there. But he's not a top tier quarterback to me. He fits
Not at
that
all.
system well.
Not at
So
all.
I do understand why you want to, because he does fit the system well. But in terms of his ability to win when he doesn't have top tier talent around him, I
Can't do
don't
it.
see it. And they need to rebuild their offensive line. They
Yeah.
gotta get that offensive line fixed. Um, to protecting better. And because Trent's going to retire at some time, and he covers
Yeah.
up so much of, the
He does so much.
bad. He does so much. They gotta get it fixed. So at the end of the day, I don't know that they could keep the talent around him because, I mean, you got Debo seeking a trade. That's with you're hoping that is it Jennings and Pearsall. You're
And
hoping
IU,
Ayuk
that would be
comes
your top
back.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're hoping those guys can step up and make it. You're hoping that after you just gave CMC that money this year, you're hoping he can get back to MVP level CMC for at least give you 2 years at a high level
That's
to
true.
help. But the reality is, San Francisco running backs can't stay healthy. So I
Mm,
don't know if it's the training staff or if it's that style, but they can't keep up. I mean, between Jordan Mason, Elijah Mitchell, CMC, I mean, they can't keep a running back healthy, fam.
Anything
Even
that
Gerardo
anything
or
that
whatever his name is, who popped in this year, he got hurt.
anything that ends with back on the
Yes,
49ers cannot
yes,
stay healthy.
correct,
That's a
facts.
quarterback, that's a running back, that's a defensive back.
Yes,
Like linebackers, they have some hurt linebackers. So like
that's true.
yeah, anything that end with back, they just which is crazy, but they struggle with injuries and I don't know what it is. But when they're healthy, they are a powerhouse. Like
Mhm. Problem
so
is it's so rare that we get to see a fully healthy 49ers team,
yeah.
mhm.
especially come, the last few weeks of the season going into a playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, these fools had to play a running back down there or a punter or whatever it was at quarterback. Like, what are we talking
Mhm.
about? Like,
Mhm.
in the playoffs. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that them injuries be tearing them up.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Corey. Yeah, O line needs changes for CMC to get back right though. Because if not, he's gonna take a whole bunch of unnecessary hits because they use him a lot.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so now I agree with that. Yeah, get the O line right. Get you a couple young guys in there that can learn behind a Trent Williams. You know what I mean?
All the more reason why I can't justify paying Brock Purdy over 40 without.
Yeah,
I mean, for those specific reasons that you guys are mentioning, O line and health and all that other stuff of getting the training right and things that you can't pay him. You can't pay him all of this money and do that. It's just not possible.
yeah. I say like I say if you a $50 million quarterback, you go out there and you're the reason why y'all win games. So
Yes.
like you said, the Lamars, the Joshes, like the Burrows, though, like there's guys
Mm-hmm.
out there that are
Mahomes.
the
Yeah.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
The Mahomes, yeah, there are guys out there the reason that lead their teams, and you know that hey, look, they're the reason why this team wins. And like and again, like even though y'all don't agree with me, I think Goff is one of those guys too. When he plays well, they usually do well. These other $50 million guys, like the Trevor Lawrences and the Herberts, like they to me, they just haven't proved that they are the reason why. No matter what talent they have around them, again, we talk about these Charger teams who were immensely talented, even though they were hurt and there and there, here and there. And then the even in Trevor Lawrence's time, like they loaded up at skill players on his team.
Yeah, you ain't got an excuse for Trevor, but Justin, I will say that often stayed hurt,
I, I
right?
and
And
I
and and then this year they just didn't have the talent. So I think
but I agree. But
next
that's why
year,
I say like if you're that dude, like to not be able to make a play in the second half against the Jaguars.
no, hey, you ain't gonna get an argument from me on that one because that
Like
that
you know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
can blame coaching as much as you want, but at some point you had to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
yep, you
You
got
know
to
what I
go
mean? And
make a play.
that's all I
Period.
say to
Yep,
Barrett. Like I'm not saying coaching didn't play a part, but at some point as a quarterback, if you're that guy, you got to make a play.
I
And
agree.
it just seemed like you couldn't. So that's always been my gripe about Herbert. But enough about that. But yeah, I put Purdy in the 40 to 45 range. I wouldn't be mad. I don't go above that because, like you said, we've seen that when people go down, like he's not the same quarterback. So I say you put him in that 40 to 45 range, which is decent, but it also leaves you some room to be able to keep talent around him, and I think that's necessary. And if he don't realize that, and he's pushing for more upwards between the 45-50 range, I say, okay, well,
Go
we're
test
at a
the market.
standstill. Yeah, we're at a standstill. See if you can go
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
45 from
Yeah.
somewhere, but
Yeah.
Well, I literally would tell him if he tried to do that, go test the market. Let's see what it looks like, and then
Yeah.
if it comes back above it, we can talk about what we can do on this end. But I don't think he's gonna have a market that's gonna put him in the $50 million range. So
yeah. No, I agree with you, Corey. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like, it's. I mean, he has the weapons, and it does make his job easier.
But in order to get weapons, you gotta have money.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, and again, the salary cap increases every year. So, I mean,
yeah,
they,
that too. Yeah,
you get 20 mil more a year almost on average. So, I mean, there's more money to play with, and that's why these contracts keep going up. But
Yeah.
I think if the Niners are smart, and John Lynch has been doing a wonderful job. So, like,
hmm
hats off to him. He's been pulling it off. So if anybody can, he will. Um, but I think they're doing the right thing. You free up that Debo money. You let him seek a trade. And like I said, you pay him somewhere between 40 and 45, and that kind of solidify because you got some safety. You got that what's his name?
who Funga?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay him.
I don't even think they can though, because if I'm mistaken, I think they're pretty strapped after they do the Purdy deal. So I
Yeah.
think I saw where pretty much Hufanga's gone.
Mm.
I know Lynch and them are creative with getting them contract. I just don't think there's a way for them to get that done until after the Purdy deal, and I don't know that that's going to happen fast enough for them to get a deal
Okay,
done.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
I, I just know that in the next few weeks or so, whenever we come back to this, he's gonna be over 55. I just have a feeling they're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him an ungodly amount of money. I just feel it in my spirit.
and
It's
if
gonna
they
happen.
do, I don't see them. I'll be honest. If they do that, I don't see them competing for a Super Bowl during that
Not at
period
all.
because
Not at all.
I mean they had the best of the best in terms of you got a guy who was making, literally, $100,000 a year. You know what I mean? It's probably more than that, but not much. I mean, he wasn't making anything.
Nah.
And y'all were able to stack every weapon you could think of around him, and y'all still didn't get it done for
Yeah.
whatever the reason was. You know what I'm saying? Now you're gonna have to pay him. So all those luxuries, the Ferraris, the Lambos that y'all had around him, that's gonna have to change. Now
Yep.
he might be lucky to get a Lexus out there, but he gonna have to be all right with a Civic. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna
Yeah.
have to make that thing goes. And I just ain't convinced that. I'm not convinced that Purdy can do it. I don't think he's that guy.
All right.
Uh,
So Corey says, what team do you think fits Debo and his assets to make it happen, and have the assets to make it happen?
I don't think it's gonna take a lot to get Debo.
No, I don't
I
either.
don't,
Just
'cause I
because
think
it's a
it's just
money, it's
like
a money thing.
it's a money thing. Yeah, I was gonna say. So I don't think it's a lot that you got to have. I think every team has the assets. It's a matter of fit, and it's a matter of. I think they're gonna want to try to do some kind of extension with him, a short extension, for another 2 years or something. So what team likes him enough to do it, and then what team does it work? That's a good question. Because Debo's not a traditional receiver either. That's the other
Yeah,
thing.
that's
He
the other
doesn't
thing.
run great routes. So
Yeah, I would. It will have to be. It will have to definitely be with a team that has a quarterback that can extend plays. Because like you said, with him not being a great route runner, I don't think a bunch of timing routes and things of that nature is going to work for him. So I
mm,
wouldn't put him with like a traditional pocket passer, somebody who's pretty much a statue. It depends on timing. So even though I would love to say somewhere like Cincinnati with Burrow, I just don't think that'll work.
no.
He would have to be somewhere with somebody moving around. I mean, Buffalo, but they don't take problem receivers, which Debo has been very outspoken in the past when it comes to contracts and stuff like that. So I think Buffalo's learned their lesson with dealing with Diggs.
Yeah.
Again, I would say Baltimore. I just don't think Baltimore has the money
Yeah.
to do
Plus
it.
they got other needs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he fits in
Yeah.
there as far as money wise. Um, man, I would probably say somewhere like Miami, even maybe even a Jacksonville. I would say that. I mean, to get Trevor. I mean, because it would have to be somewhere like you already paid a quarterback, so you gotta supply him with weapons, and he
Um
wants to be the guy.
and
You
see,
can't put him somewhere where he's a number two.
I don't think he has to be the guy though. I really don't. I think he's okay as long as he gets his touches. Um
Mm.
I
But
don't get he wants to be obviously utilized in the offense, but I don't think he would get too wrapped up with, oh, I'm the man kind of thing. Like his production's gonna show that. So like if I had to look real quick at the team so I can kind of take a quick look, and I'm like, all right, I think from a cap standpoint and maybe where some fit is, as in terms of that, I would say um I think the Texans could work. Um
get him as a rental, see how he work out, and then you can make some moves if he's
yeah,
good.
I think that the Chargers work, and I think Denver works.
Now
I'm gonna add the Steelers with that too.
the Steelers will be good too.
I do. It's just I don't know with the quarterback situation. It really depends on who they're putting back there at quarterback. But I definitely think he works. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked to see a team like the Raiders get involved.
Yeah, and
It's
he
like
and Corey says the Chiefs, and I just don't think the money's there.
Chiefs. Chiefs
Nah,
won't happen. Chiefs
nah.
won't happen.
They
That's
just don't have the
the
money.
one. They don't have the money, and I think people keep forgetting. Chiefs have Rashee Rice. He is a really good receiver.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy, I don't think is great, but he's young.
He's
He's
coming
getting
along.
better. He's coming along. Like they're not gonna add a player just to take touches away from those guys. They're probably gonna bring Marquise Brown back, maybe.
Yeah,
Like you know what I'm saying?
because they didn't
Yeah.
really even see what they had in him. He was
No,
I,
hurt
he
most
didn't
of the
play.
season.
I agree with that too. I think the Chiefs, the wide receiver spot is they good there. I think they
But then, I mean, and in Seattle, yes, he would fit in good there. The only thing is that I don't see they're not going to trade him in the NFC
No,
West.
that's what I was gonna say. I would have said Arizona, but I'm like, he's not going to any team there.
Yeah.
San
So
Francisco's not
yeah,
trading
yeah.
him
So
either.
Arizona, Seattle, yeah,
No,
you can chalk them up.
yeah, you chalk all that up.
Unfortunately,
I only said the
the
Steelers.
Rams.
I only
Even
said
though
this.
the Rams will be a great fit, it just won't happen. You very seldom
It's
see
just
people
it's not
traded within
that's not happening
divisions.
in division. I cannot see John Lynch saying, "All right, let's send Debo like you said to the Rams." That's a
Yeah.
where that could be a really good fit because of all the movements and stuff that it's not happening. They're trying to get
Especially
rid of
with
Cooper
with
Cup.
with
Like, you know
McVay,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, yeah, they're trying to get rid of Cooper Cup, so I don't see them bringing on Debo, and they're trying to get rid of Cooper Cup. So
I only said the Steelers because I could see Tomlin getting him together as far as attitude wise. Like
I
I
don't
can
think he
see
got
that.
a bad attitude though. I really don't.
Yeah.
He's like
Uh,
most guys. They
Most
just want to
receivers
win
they
and want
won't
they
they yeah,
touches.
won't they
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and he wasn't wrong. They wasn't getting in the ball. So I mean, that's just what it was. I don't think he's a problem though. He ain't like oh, and also, Vern, the other reason why Baltimore wouldn't get him, there's a reason they brought back Deontay Johnson. I think one, Deontay Johnson um, I think he got humbled and realizing that he doesn't really have a market in the NFL. And
Mm,
Baltimore was willing to give him a chance, and he has to put in the work to earn that trust from Lamar and the rest of those guys. So I think going into next year, I don't think Baltimore is going to make any moves at receiver. I think they're going to run it back with Bateman, Flowers, and Johnson. Keep keep the tight ends right and all that stuff. They got other holes they got to fill anyway,
yeah.
but I just think Debo. I don't think Debo's market is as big only because of one, the money, and then two, I just don't think he fits with every roster.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And that's what I said. It's just, I mean, they can go seek a partner, but like I said, you take the NFC West out of it, a few other select teams that, like you said, just don't really deal with, and I hate saying a headache receiver, but like I said, he just be on social media, so he
Yeah,
just be talking. Which, like you said, is based on touches and money. I mean, anybody's going. I mean, but the thing is, you don't hear that from everybody who don't get touches and money.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, I think it's tough. I mean, I could see him in Indy.
yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
think we could. I mean, if he's okay with Indy, because I mean, going from California to Indy would be a big difference.
Indoor stadium. So
Yeah, no, not even a
I think he
stadium.
would
I'm
like.
just thinking about just
No, I'm saying
possibility of living, like living difference. Um,
I think he'll love it because he'll realize how much cheaper it is for
well, it's a lot cheaper.
him. Because you can always
But
live in the off season
you don't
up
have to
there.
deal with taxes either. But
Yep. Yeah.
um, so, but yeah, no, I mean here, I mean,
Well,
because I
you
think
doing Cali? Yeah, you doing Cali?
I didn't know, I didn't think they had income
That
tax.
that's Florida.
yeah,
Is that the
yeah,
only place?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Cali, you
Uh,
definitely pay
oh,
taxes.
Them and
okay.
it might
I
be
think
Texas.
Texas too.
Texas is
It
another
might
one
be
that don't pay
Texas.
taxes, but
Yeah, but
Cali, oh
Cali, you
no,
getting
I
taxed left
wasn't
and
sure.
right, baby.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I stand corrected.
it's the most expensive place
Yeah.
to go
Okay, cool.
to.
Nonetheless, but like, yeah, I can see him in Indy. I mean, if
That's
we
actually a real
can
good fit.
if we can build up the run game, use him in different ways, because I mean, we need a versatile receiver that can do more
Hmm.
than you
Indy
know.
gonna Indy gonna pay him? That's the question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because like a lot of the guys that we have a lot of young guys,
Hmm.
so and we got to start filtering out some of the guys that we did pay. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Your problem is
um,
I don't think Indy will because with Adnan Mitchell, with Alec Pierce, with Downs, with
That's fine.
Pittman,
That's fine.
I don't think they're gonna want to break up their young core to bring in a vet like Debo. I just don't
I
see it.
agree.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Um,
I look at Josh Down. He's Ursay won't pay him. Yeah, I know. I just look at
Tell
Josh
him.
Downs has been hurt a lot. You look at Adon
rook-
Mitchell, very inconsistent hands. Like,
rookie though. You got to give him another year or two. You got to
yeah,
because I mean think about it. Alec Pierce had terrible hands too, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden this year that brother learned how to
he
catch.
still learn how to catch. Yeah,
So
so yeah, yeah. So I mean, I mean, not to be the dead horse, but I think there's a small market for him, but he got it. Like you said, he got to get in the right place.
yeah,
He
I agree.
said if so, trade Pittman for him. But then again, that
They ain't doing that.
yeah, you don't pay him 1 year to trade him the next.
No.
And he's
And
been hurt too. He's been dealing with back issues, so who knows what? I mean, we know what he is when he's fully healthy. I mean, the year before last, he showed it. But
I think he'll come back healthy next year.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
But Debo stays banged up. We know that.
yeah.
So
That's what I'm saying. Another thing, yeah. Like, do you really want to?
no,
You know,
no.
so. But shoot, man, that's all I got, man. We got one more. What he said? He can't catch either. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that part.
So,
And Pittman got some of the best hands you're gonna find in the
yeah,
league.
just a very good hands. So if nothing else, he catches the ball. But
Yep.
that's all I got, man. Any closing statements, man, before we get out of here? Anything? Well, dang, I'm so used to saying defund with Jared being here. I'm used to saying, "Well, we defunding anything?" But
I ain't got no defundment. That's his
no
thing.
defunding. Yeah, that's his thing.
That's his thing.
Defund these all-star games. I said it.
I'm with it.
And
I
I'm
think
with
Pro
it.
Bowl and all like defund that mess, man.
All
Let's
right,
get
all right.
back to something else.
Hey, but at least, hey, we got a couple weeks. Then we got March Madness.
Now
That
that
get,
should be fun.
you know what I mean? We can start keying in on some of these college teams and
Yep.
get Crossroads on here to give us the inside scoop on who we should be looking out for. So at least we got some March Madness, some Big Ten championship and stuff like that. Some championship weeks we can watch some good basketball, hopefully.
Oh
So
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. Only thing I'll give you a heads up. I believe the date is February 22nd, so like 2 weeks.
mhm.
I think Shakur Stevenson is back in the ring. So
Okay,
got a good fight coming up. Hopefully, he got a young up and comer he's fighting. I think Schofield is who he's fighting, or is it Kid Austin? I can't remember which one he's fighting, but he got a good fight coming up, or should be a pretty good fight coming up the 22nd. So we'll see.
okay, cool. Always good to know about some good fights. Anything you want to drop? Anything we need to look out for in the sports world? Uh,
Nah,
John,
man. Nah, man. I mean, right now,
anything you looking
NBA.
forward to?
Any right now, NBA for me is I'm waiting to after All Star. So that's when we really kind of start seeing teams figure out what they're gonna do to make this playoff push. So that's what I'm looking more forward to
Okay,
from an NBA standpoint. I'm waiting for the first fight to happen between Draymond and Jimmy Butler. So I know that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna just tell you right now, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
yeah. Uh, when I heard about that, that's the first thing that clicked in my head. I'm like Jimmy Butler and
Yeah,
Draymond Green.
ready for the first. I'm ready for the first fight. It's going.
Draymond might have met his match.
Yeah, well, maybe
So,
because Jimmy crazy. He moody. He moody. He has a different mood every day. So
well, I'm with that. Man, I don't have much, man. Just waiting to get done with CDL school so I can sleep. That's it, man.
how much longer you got?
Uh, I'm on my third week, so one more week. That's if you pass everything within the time frames they give you. So right now I'm on track.
Oh, you got it, man.
So
You got it.
but next week, like trying to test out is one of the toughest things. So
Just let me know
putting everything you learn together and then trying to.
just let me know when you're on the road so I cannot be on there. So
Oh,
Facts. Facts.
wow, that's crazy.
Hey, but you got it.
you got it. Though. You got it though. You got it though.
Y'all petty. I can't tell y'all nothing, man.
My fault, man. That's why I don't get invited to these things much. My fault.
See, Corey.
My fault.
See, I get it all. Look, everybody, bro.
My fault.
Everybody. This is just me. Corey be getting on me too at school. We help each other, but we also be talking crazy. So
You know what? You know what, Vernon? Fox is a bad influence on me, man. That's what it is.
what?
Oh my! Don't put me. Nah, man. I'm an innocent bystander, man.
Between him and Ike,
We innocent.
with them going at each other, and then also being the bad influences on everybody else.
Me and Ike got a good working relationship.
Y'all do. Especially when one of you are absent from the show, and the
Yeah, oh
shots
yeah.
take at each other. It's awesome.
Mm-mm.
I dig it, but man, that's it, man. I appreciate y'all joining us, man. This has been another episode of the Epic Podcast. We will see y'all next week. Deuces, peace up.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah, man. Do all that stuff, man.